I just found something out. I just found out that you do not have a decision problem. You have a trust problem with yourself. Sit with that for a second. You don't have a decision problem. You have a trust problem with yourself. Here's a question I want you to sit with, okay? When was the last time you made a decision? A real decision. A decision without immediately second guessing yourself, without texting your friend or scrolling to find someone who agreed with you, or lying awake at 2 a.m. replaying it over and over again. When was the last time? And if you had to think about it for more than 5 seconds, this episode is for you. Today, we're discussing self trust. Not in a love yourself enough type of bumper sticker thing. Okay? I mean, the real operational daily life version of it. The version that determines whether you're going to follow through on all the things you say you'll do. Whether you can hear your own voice when the room gets super loud, or whether you stop needing constant external validation just to feel okay about your own choices in life. All right, so let's get into it. If you're new here, my name is Shatika. My friends call me T, and this is WhoseTeaTV. I want to be upfront with you about a few things. Probably more than a few, but okay. A lot of content about self trust is super vague. It's inspirational, no doubt, but it tells you to listen to your gut or just trust the process without giving you anything that's concrete to do with it. So, if that's what you're looking for, this is not that. This is not what we're doing today. I'm going to give you framework. I'm going to talk about the psychology behind it. I'm going to give you 3 real world examples along with 5 action steps. And you can utilize all of this week. No bull, no cap. This episode is for you if you are constantly asking other people what they think before you act. You talked yourself out of something that turned out to be right, or possibly you feel more confident allowing someone else's advice than listening to your own. You replay decisions obsessively, trying to find the mistake. You know what you want to do, but you keep waiting to feel sure enough. Now, if any of that hits you, stay right here with me. And if you're new here, let's just go deeper. Deeper. I want you to look into how you think and how you move. And if you want to know a little bit more about me, I was just recently on 333 Empower. It's a podcast where I sat down with Luke and had a real conversation about life. It wasn't polished, it wasn't surface level, it was just honest. I'll link that description. I'll put the link in the description, okay? All right, let's get into part 1. What self-trust actually is. Self-trust is not a feeling that you feel. That's the first thing I need you to really understand. It's just not. People treat self-trust like it's a permanent emotional state. Like one day you just wake up and you just feel super confident in all your decisions. No, that's not how that works. That's not how that works. Self trust is a relationship you have with yourself. And like any other relationship, it's built through repeated behavior over time. You got that? Repeated behavior over time. Here's the simplest definition I found, and maybe this will help you. Self trust is believing that you will follow through on your own commitments. What am I talking about? It's simple. If you follow through on your own commitments, including the ones you make to yourself, that's it. It's not about being right all the time. It's not about not having any type of doubts. It's about knowing when you tell yourself something, you're going to act on it. When you make a decision, you'll back yourself on it. And when you're wrong, you're going to handle it. You're going to handle it. Let me give you an example. We all have those folks, and maybe it's you, that you have a diet that never starts. Think about it this way. Excuse me. Someone who keeps telling themselves every Sunday, this week, I'm going to eat better. And then by Tuesday, it's over. It's over. Not because they lack information. They know exactly what they need to eat. It's not because they lack the desire. They actually want to change. But every time they break the commitment, they erode their self-trust just a little bit more. So after 6 months of doing this, when they say, I'm going to change my eating habits, a part of their brain doesn't even believe them anymore. That is the core problem. It's not motivation. It's trust bankruptcy. And the wild thing about all of this is most people don't even realize it's happening. They think the problem is willpower or discipline or just finding the right diet. Meanwhile, the real problem is that they've made and broken so many promises to themselves that their own words mean absolutely nothing. Nothing. Now flip that for a sec. Think about someone who says, I'm going to walk for 10 minutes every single morning. And when they do walk for those 10 minutes, something happens. Even when they do it and it's boring. Even when they don't want to do it. After 30 days, when the person says, I'm going to make a change, there's a quiet confidence underneath it. Not arrogance, just grounded. They know they can count on themselves. That, my friend, is self-trust, built in small deposits. Now let's talk about why self-distrust feels normal. Here's something that no one ever talks about enough. We are trained as a people to distrust ourselves. From early on, we learned that our instincts need to be validated by someone with more authority. Whether it's your parent, a teacher, a boss, some sort of expert or guru. This isn't always bad, but the side effect is that a lot of us reach adulthood still waiting for someone to give us the green light on our own decisions. And I'm over here trying to make it make sense. We Google, Is it okay to feel this way about our own decisions? We ask our friends, am I overreacting? Before we've even decided how we feel. Or we wait for an expert to confirm what we already know. And then we're confused about why exactly we can't trust ourselves. But the good news, because there is always good news, I'll say it, you can rebuild it. You can rebuild it real fast. Not with affirmations, with action. We'll get to that. But first, I want to talk about the 3 things that are depleting your self trust because you need to know what you're up against. First, you're not going to believe this, but it's true. The first thing is breaking agreements with yourself. Yes, I said it. Breaking agreements with yourself. We covered this here on WhoseTeaTV. Every time you say you'll do something and you don't, especially a small thing, you make a withdrawal from your self-trust account. And the sneaky part is that size of the agreement doesn't matter as much as the frequency of you breaking said agreement. Think of it this way. You miss the gym once. That won't wreck you completely. Missing it because you told yourself you'd go, then didn't, then didn't, then didn't, that pattern becomes your identity. Now, I'm someone who doesn't follow through. And once that's your identity, making decisions from a place of self trust is nearly impossible. So you have to start out ridiculously small to fix it. Promises you will absolutely keep, then keep them again. Second, outsourcing your decisions compulsively. Oh, you know y'all do that. See, there's a difference between seeking input and seeking permission. Are you following me? Seeking input. I'm thinking about leaving my job. I'm thinking about it. What factors should I be considering? Seeking permission. Do you think it's cool for me to quit? I'm just saying, what am I going to do? Should I leave my job? See, one is strategic and the other is of dictation. See, when you're constantly outsourcing decisions, especially personal ones, you stop developing your own decision making muscle. You know, your muscle, it atrophies. And then when you have to make a call on your own, you're like, what should I do? You freeze. Or you make the decision, but you spend the next 3 days hoping that someone else then validates it. See, I don't know about you, but I know about me. We all have that one friend who won't stop asking. You probably know someone like this. Or maybe you're the person. And there's no shame in it. But you still need to be able to identify the type. You cannot tell them what to do because they'll ask you the exact same question 6 different ways until you give them the answer that they want to hear. And then when it goes all wrong or way left, they're blindsided because they've outsourced the decision making process and they never actually processed whether it was right for them or not. The antidote isn't to stop talking to people, it's to make your decision first. then talk to some other folks. Collect that input as data. It doesn't have to be the only lifeline. Third, treating uncertainty as a stop sign. You don't want to do that. This is the biggest mistake or depleter, if I should say that. Self-trusting people doesn't wait until that doesn't mean you're waiting until you feel certain. People, they tend to move when they're uncertain. Because here's the thing, certainty is almost never available. Every single significant decision in your life that you've made without all the information, things change. Jobs change, relationships change. You might move, create another project. Who knows? But you didn't know how it would go, but you went along with it anyway. Waiting to feel ready or sure is often just fear dressed in a reasonably nice costume. People with high self trust have learned to read the difference between intuitive hesitation. Something feels off about this. Something doesn't feel right. I should slow down. Anxiety based hesitation. I'm scared of being wrong. I'm scared. It's facts. So I'll delay this indefinitely. Both feel similar in the way the body of it is, but the skill is learning which one you're dealing with. And that skill only comes from reps being done, repetitiously doing, action. All right, now that we've diagnosed the problem, let's get to the framework. I know you're ready. Let's get to the framework. I call it now, act, back. Now, act, back. No, act, back. No, this is what you need to know. Identify what you actually think. Before you text anyone, before you Google it, before you do anything, ask yourself, what do I think about this? Write it down if you have to. Force yourself to form an opinion before you seek any type of external input. Act. Do the thing you said you do. Do the thing you said you do, especially when it's small, especially when it's inconvenient. Make the decision, keep it. Micro commitments to yourself constantly. Back. When you make that decision, back yourself up. That doesn't mean you never course correct. It means you stop the post decision torture. Look, if what we're talking about right now is hitting you deeper than you even expected, if you're realizing that you've been second guessing yourself for so long, not because you didn't know what to do, but because you didn't trust yourself to follow through. I built something just for you. I built something just for you. It's called How to Stop Abandoning Yourself. It's not about motivation. It's not, excuse me, it has nothing to do with you just listening to me. It doesn't. This is structure. This is where you rebuild your relationship with yourself in real time. The link is in the description. I don't want you to overthink it when you see the link. Click the link and commit. Because that habit right there, that's the pattern that you're going to break. The overthinking. Okay, back to work. Back to work. There are 3 real life examples that will help you on this journey. I'm going to make this real, just so real for a second, as if it wasn't real before. There was a time I knew exactly what I needed to do, but I still didn't do it. So no, you're not alone. I sat on it. I talked myself out of it and then back into it and then out of it again. And I waited so long when I didn't need to. And it wasn't because I didn't know what I needed to do, because I didn't trust myself enough to move on what I knew. That delay, it cost me more than being wrong ever would. That's when it clicked. That's when it clicked right here. This wasn't about me finding clarity. I didn't trust myself. I didn't trust myself. And if I'm being perfectly honest, sometimes I still hesitate. But it's not because I don't trust myself. It's just because I need to pivot. So let's talk about the pivot. Someone I know, her name's Maya. Hey, Maya. Spent 4 years in a corporate marketing job. She had a decent salary. It was a safe space. She knew within about 6 months that it just wasn't the right fit for her. But she spent the next 3.5 years collecting opinions. She asked her parents. She asked me. They told her to stay. I said, do what's best for you. She asked all her friends. Mixed bags of emotions. She found a coach who said, go. She asked another coach who said, stay. She read every article about how to know when to quit your job. And then she finally did something different. She sat down and she wrote out what she thought anyone else would say around her. Just her. And she wrote all that down and found that it was her opinion that was clear. It had been clear for years. The problem wasn't that she didn't know. The problem was that she just kept waiting for someone with enough authority to make it feel safe to know, which was her. And more importantly, she learned that she could trust her own read on a situation. And that knowledge has compounded her ever since. You know, some people get the 2 a.m. text. You know, you might have been the one on the other end trying to send it. This one's smaller, but it's just as important. You know, the moment something happens and someone says something or a situation may unfold and your emotional reaction is super strong, immediately you want to text someone and ask, am I overreacting? Here's what that question is actually doing. It's asking someone else to validate your emotional reality before you'll let yourself feel it. So the next time that happens, I want you to try this instead. Sit with that feeling for 10 minutes. You're going to ask yourself, what do I actually think happened here? What do I actually feel? And does that feeling make sense given what occurred? Then you could talk to someone if you want to, only after 10 minutes. But once you make the call internally, do it first, right here, internally. So over time, this will train you to trust your own perception, which is foundational to everything else. The obvious answer you keep ignoring, we're going to discuss. There's a pattern that I see constantly. Someone describes a situation in detail. They've been stewing on it for weeks. They want to know what to do, what to do, what to do. Then, buried right in the middle of all of the chaos, is the answer. They already knew exactly what to do. They said it almost casually. I mean, I know I probably need to just end the partnership. But that right there, that's it. Self-trust means being willing to answer your own answers. Not just produce them, but act on them. Most of the time, when people say they don't know what to do, they mean they don't like what they know they have to do. That's a different type of problem, but it's still solvable. But it starts with honesty about the facts that you actually already know. No more theory. No more theory. Here's exactly what to do. The 72-hour opinion embargo. For the next 72 hours, when you have to make a tough, life-altering decision, or any decision for that matter, you are not allowed to ask anyone else for input before you inform your own opinion. Write it down. Here is exactly what I think. And then here's why. And then, only then, can you talk to other people about it. But go in with a position, not something you're trying to avoid. This will be uncomfortable if you're not used to being in the middle of your own chaos, but I want you to do it anyway. Second, make one micro promise and keep it. Pick something tiny, embarrassingly small. I will drink a glass of water when I wake up tomorrow. I will write for 5 minutes before I open my phone. Something you will absolutely 100% for sure do. And just do it. Then do it again the next day. You're not doing this for the habit. You're doing it to start rebuilding the signal right here in your brain that says, I can do this. I did something. I did it. That signal is what self-trust is actually made of. Third, the regret audit. You're going to grab a piece of paper and write down 3 decisions that you regret. I'm not talking about the big life stuff that's like you regret necessarily. I'm just talking about a decision that still bothers you that you didn't go for. You didn't shoot your shot. Now ask, did I actually not know what to do at that time? Or did I know and not listen to me? And I bet that in the last 2 or 3, some part of you already knew. Maybe it was a faint no. Maybe it was an uncomfortable no, but it was there and you knew and you saw the signs and you still avoided it. This isn't about beating yourself up. It's about recognizing the pattern, you knowing ahead of acting. That gap is where self-trust lives. Fourth, practice deciding and moving on it. Practice deciding and moving on it. Pick a low stakes area of your life where you chronically waffle through it, like restaurants, what to wear, which route to take. It doesn't matter. Start making those decisions faster and then committing to them. You pick the restaurant where you want to go. You don't second guess it at the table. You don't spend dinner saying we should have gone somewhere else. I've done that. Remember, this whole channel is built on lived experience and change. This all sounds silly, but it's not. Decision fatigue and second guessing in small things create a mental habit that bleeds into big things. Practice making calls and backing them in low stake zones first. Fifth, write what I know entry once a week. Every week, if you write one paragraph that starts with, here's what I know right now about A, B, C, or D, or which area of your life, not what you're hoping for, not what someone else said, what you know to be a fact. This will build a habit of identifying your own perspective as a real valid data point, not something that needs external approval to count. So over time, you'll notice that your entries get clearer and clearer and more confident and more direct. That's the compound interest of self-trust. You just nailed it. Now, before we wrap up real quick, I want to give you a reminder. Self-trust isn't just internal. It's not. It shows up in how you take care of yourself too. How you show up, how you move, how you treat your body. If you've been rocking with me, you already know. You already know. I don't just talk about this. I embody all of it. I don't just talk about it. That's where my infinite storefront products come in. See, right now, BTP, the Body Balm, is on sale 3 for $25. These are handmade in small batches. This is what the packaging looks like. This is from garden to skin. You see that? If you're rebuilding your life, don't ignore the way you can care for yourself in the process. The link is in the description below. The link is in the description. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. Today we covered a lot. What self-trust actually is and why it's a relationship, not a feeling. It's a relationship, not a feeling. The 3 things that eroded: the no, act back. No, act back. That framework was given to you with real examples, along with 5 action steps that you can start today, this week. You just need to pick one, just one, and do it before the week's over. And if you want to go deeper, I mean deeper, don't forget the links are in the description. And if you want to hear me break this down in a real conversation of what's happening to me in the messy middle, please do check out 333 Empower at 333 Empower, the podcast. And I'll link that episode below as well. Because the longer you wait to trust yourself, the easier it is for you to keep living this life that doesn't fit you anymore. I'll see you next time.